October 3rd, Economic Development Committee. No minutes to approve. I'm really bad at that, sorry. I need somebody else to do minutes, I think, but,
I would, but I
You don't wanna
I
try?
suck.
yeah. Huh? If you wanna try,
You got it.
can be as little as you want,
Make it happen.
anything, that'd be good.
Done.
So let's just start with meeting, so we have one opening right now, and Tina Higgins has emailed, so I'll just tell you a little about the.
When can you start?
Please bring him your chair.
So,
And your ideas.
You're right.
pretty much, you know, just our perspective, the EDC deals with a wide range of things, anything from marketing, and we kind of act like a chamber of commerce for businesses in Bolton, kind of a conduit to the town for new businesses or interest in the town, try to fill open space, and pretty much just in general try to connect businesses to the people in town, however events or brochures, way that we can do that. So that's pretty much what we do, and we write stories, we have the Facebook page, but if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, I have no marketing experience.
You don't have
But
to.
I'm a scientist, I work in diagnostics, and I'm definitely interested in seeing like more business in Bolton, or, you know, but at the same time, I really appreciate the environment, so I definitely see all your posts on Facebook and the different publications that you guys have going out and the activities, so it just sounds really interesting, and something I'd like to get involved in.
Great. Yeah, so usually we just ask you to sit through the meeting, and then if you're interested, we'll vote at the end, and then just has to go before the selectmen. It's not a big fancy process, so. It's always good to get new people, because people get worn out and tired, so.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a cycle. Alright, so we'll just run through our things we have going on. So the wrap up of Backyard Bolton, which everybody's talking about, just went pretty much amazing. We couldn't have hoped for better, I don't think.
I think it was a great.
Yeah.
Both of you did a fantastic job. Kudos to
Yeah.
both of you.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Even right down to the printing of the brochures that you had there, just really just a fine,
Yeah.
The
fine
last one was
job.
hard to fit everyone, because it was like, there's
Well, that's-
23
That's
vendors.
fantastic though, that's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
So I just think it's great visibility for the town and us, and
Yeah.
it's good.
No, I mean, it is nothing but positive feedback.
Yeah,
from,
absolutely.
You know, I got a lot of emails about it, and all the vendors were very happy. They all sold a lot of stuff and got their name out there, and it just, yeah, it just went really great. People were happy that the common was being used.
I heard that a lot. People
Yeah.
were just like, this is what we like would hope that this would actually be used for, like the commons.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's good.
Yeah,
And when I came to town and I saw it, I was like, oh, they must do like markets here,
Yeah.
'cause this is the perfect spot.
yeah.
Have we thought about going at, like, maybe for the Christmas season or holiday season, let's just be more politically correct, I guess, is maybe having a Christmas tree thing there to sell trees as a possibility?
I think-
Vendors and wreaths and that kind of thing? Is that something we can do? Because I always drive
Somebody
to,
sell them?
there's a place I go
Hi.
on 62, which I call, I actually won't mention, I just think I'm going back in time to Tennessee, and it's a little hick, and I decided to go to a place in Hudson, which is nice, but we
I know
really
there's
had some-
farms and stuff around that do it, so.
But right here in Bolton Center, right in the Commons would be fantastic,
Yeah,
to have some
if
sort of
somebody
setup, and they
wanted
get in
to-
the parking lot, just set up right there and
If
sell trees.
somebody wanted to do that,
and-
that'd be fine. Yeah.
I think the only reluctance I have is we do have some local businesses that do, and I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
wanna-
Which local ones though?
Boy Scouts?
Bolton Orchards.
But do the
Westward.
But do they sell a lot of trees at Bolton Orchards? What is it like?
They
Yeah.
do.
Okay, because I
They
never
bring
really
in
gone there for a tree.
quite a few,
Yeah.
they
Okay.
sell a couple hundred every year.
Okay,
And so we don't wanna really compete against people, I mean, we
Yeah,
wanna just
right.
enhance.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I don't know about that, but
Okay,
anyway, let
just
me,
an idea.
yeah, let me continue on. So it was definitely a lot of work for Sean and I, you know, we're scrambling for the two, we definitely wouldn't wanna go every week, because it took us 2 weeks to
Yeah.
get the vendors lined up, and the hard part was the produce, because
even
a
at
lot
the
of
end
the,
of that was,
Yeah.
because you would end up going to Harper's, and then
Yeah,
we were basically selling it.
We
Just
were
to
reselling.
bring more produce to the event,
Yeah.
because there either wasn't enough of it, or
yeah,
we'd have vendors back out like the day of.
so
Yeah.
we were buying produce as at the
Well,
EDC,
just to
was
fill
we were
in.
selling it.
Only the last
the last
two.
two. But,
Okay.
so we
Okay.
had
So what were you buying?
So, well, first of all,
It was
Uh,
Harper's.
the thing, the bigger farms, you know, have their farm stand and everything, and they're resilient to bad weather and stuff, because they have so many different things. But the smaller farms all got hit very hard with all the rain and then just the weird weather this summer, so.
Right.
Like, you know, Mentor Farms was supposed to be the first one, but they got flooded out, they were able to recover for the second and third. Long Hill Farm was there for the first, but they couldn't get enough for the other two. Schultz, you know, nobody really had great, you know, production. Actually, Hudson's Farmers Market, they were frantically, they emailed me and they were emailing around saying their produce vendors all backed up too. So they were having the same issue.
Wow.
I went to Harvard's Farmers Market this weekend and there wasn't one produce vendor there.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think like, you know, all the smaller farms that would typically go to those,
Yeah.
it was just a bad year.
There's usually several there.
Yeah.
With all different kinds of
There was
stuff.
nobody, we went there, we were like, we were surprised there wasn't one vendor,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, even I know like that my little garden is pretty much rotted out from all the rain.
yeah.
Yeah, so,
Wow.
so that was the hard part, but hopefully, you know, we would talked about it would self-propel itself. Definitely, you know, people like, oh, we definitely wanna come back, you know.
Yeah, I think all the other vendors would be pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
The part that I thought was gonna be hard was, oh, it'd be fun to have like the, you know, the side things that aren't typical maybe of like a farmer's market.
But that was what was
Market,
huge.
That's what we had a ton
I
of.
mean, in Bolton, we have a lot of in-home businesses that love being there, like artisans, like the H&Ls.
Yep, there was, yeah, pottery,
Yeah.
there was like, you know,
Yeah,
all
it was-
of
it
those
was such a good range,
jams and
yeah.
cookies and
Yeah.
signs and
Yeah.
all that stuff, there was like
Yeah.
plenty of.
And then what we did the last time, I kinda thought of this like 2 days before, is like the community table, where, you know, cause when we were visioning it, like, oh, we call it Backyard Bolton, cause people, you know, have whatever, they garden in the back, and if you have extra, just bring it. I don't think anybody really felt like they had enough to have a whole setup themselves, but having the community table, like, I was surprised, just with a day or two notice, definitely people brought it by, and people were coming and picking up that stuff and paying, like, way overpaying for it, because they knew it was going to a cause.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely advertise that and continue
Yeah, I
that.
think we got like 30 or
40 bucks.
40 bucks
Yeah.
to split out to the two causes.
And it was like barely nothing there, but, you know, if we advertised and stuff, you know, there would be a lot more for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
we
think
did,
that might be where you get more produce. is
Yeah.
If it, you know,
People just bring
people
stuff.
just
Yeah.
bring stuff rather than like have
Yeah.
to
yeah,
have a whole setup.
yeah, right, it's kind of intimidating.
Right.
Cause even like for the first one we were there, I know like, different people like, oh, you know, does it cost, or just people are intimidated by the whole thing until they realize, you know, we made it really easy for people, being free and, you know, just being kinda easy go, not having like set locations, just like come, set up where you want, and, you know, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so, anything else with it? I mean, we'll definitely do it again next year. We
Yeah.
talked about dates, like, if you go much earlier in August, nobody's around in Bolton. The September 22nd one, there were a lot of other events going on, and like, there was that thing in Lancaster going on, there were, you know, other farmers markets, you know, so I think the third one was the least attended, I would say.
Yeah, I think what would be good is like very easy and quick to like uphold the vendors just to see like, would you be interested next year? How
Yeah,
many? Like,
yeah,
did they like
yeah,
3? Did they
yeah.
like 2?
Yeah,
You know, I don't think most people really, I know the people wanted more of it, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
for the vendors, like,
yeah,
it felt like the 3 Saturdays was like the perfect amount for
Well,
the first year
right.
at least.
I also think what happened, like especially for like Newgrange and the other soap vendors, like people came the first time,
Yeah.
bought something of theirs, then they didn't need to buy it again.
Mm.
So by the third time, maybe just, I don't know, people didn't feel like they needed to come back or something, but,
It was probably right. I
So
mean,
three's
I
good,
went
spread out.
once and I felt like I did my contribution.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
got 3 kids. And
yeah,
There's also
Okay.
more sports, I think, on the last weekend, a lot of like games are going
Yeah.
on and stuff. So I don't know if it works, we could do something similar, or
maybe
if
if
it
we,
was like 2 in August, like,
Yeah.
they don't have, it could be back-to-back weekends.
Well, what I
like,
was
they
gonna
have to
say
be,
is,
like, 2 weeks
maybe we
apart.
do like the one in August, skip one weekend, the first weekend in September, and then do the second and third weekend, just to not
Right,
hit
yeah.
that end. You know, so maybe we do 3, but maybe we just condense it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, we
Something
can
like
do
that. some people brought this up, and I know in other towns, like the Harvard Farmers Market does it, they have like one holiday kind of market. Like, we could do it in Davis Hall or something, same type of vendors, I don't know,
Well, that's a good idea.
like in like mid-December
You're
or
supporting
something.
local business skills around the holidays,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Like a bazaar, like a
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah,
Don't they have something? like
maybe.
Yeah, don't they have
Maybe.
some at the church over here?
Maybe, yeah.
that?
Something?
I mean, if they have something, then fine.
Maybe if it is, it could be just help, I don't know about it, right, so it could be just help trying to market
Sure.
it.
I know Harvard has one around
Interest.
Thanksgiving, yeah, if they have it, then we can market it,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
But,
think it's more for the church.
Yeah, yeah.
If they have it, then
Winery
fine.
did something too,
Yeah.
or
They
something
used
else.
to, I don't know if they still, it was like an artisan
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Mm.
I mean, if it exists, then fine. So we were talking about, I was kind of, became a reseller. So I bought, you can buy from Harper's Farm, like wholesale, so I ended up buying wholesale. Hundred and, what is this, right, $142 worth of stuff over 2 weeks, and sold 172, so plus $30. So that number comes into play. I was gonna ask the board, I sunk some marketing costs, $40 for the banner, and then I did, social media, boosting posts to get a wider spread of people looking at it. $40 for the first one, and then $20 for the next two, so that's $120 total. But since I made $30 gain in my reselling business, I was gonna ask, we have a $1,000 budget. Typically, we've only hit around $850, but, so I'm kind of in the hole $90, so if the board could vote to reimburse SAR, to just, if they voted $90, then I could just, then I should just give you the paperwork or whatever, our charges and stuff, so,
Do you do a motion on that?
yeah, I need a motion for $90.
Motion for $90.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
I-
Great. So that's good. I was hoping, the second one, I lost a little the second one, but,
When you rolled in with all the squash, I was like, that's a lot.
well, but you have to buy bushels.
Oh, wait a
not
second, you
bushels.
didn't tell us it was your fault. I make a motion, we rescind, no.
I felt so good after the first one, we made it, like,
Yeah, I was in the
like,
positive
walking
$42.
the squash.
His family ate squash for 3 weeks.
Well, I was handing it out, I stood selling it cheaper.
I know, I felt bad, I was like, I'll buy whatever my
Yeah.
wife won't yell at me about.
But anyway, I
They
netted,
still haven't.
between the 2 weeks, I netted $30, so,
Hey, you were in the green, so.
Huh?
You were in the green.
we're in the
so it's
green,
okay.
yeah, so I'll put that towards things, so anyway. Yeah, I think that's it for Backyard Bolton.
Cool, nice work, guys.
Yeah. Well, and also with the social media push, and just every time we posted something about it, we got 1,500, 2,000 views of it. We went from 480 followers on Destination Bolton to about 520 in that
Oh,
span.
nice.
We gained like 40 followers, and like looking at where they're coming from, they were not, it was a lot of like surrounding town type people. Like, so definitely the boosting the post to the region. I got like some Hudson followers and like, so, and that's kind of the goal is, so when you put out posts for Bolton Orchards or whatever business, it's not just Bolton people seeing it, it's surrounding people to help bring
Yeah.
more people in, so. Yeah, I mean, building up the Facebook, 520 people. I've had like, so the EDC chairman of Leicester is trying to create a thing where, kind of like getting EDC chairs and co-chairs and stuff in the region together to come up with ideas and stuff. And she was checking out, everything we post, all our stories from Amy and the website and, just the general feel of the Facebook page. And, and Leicester's a bigger town than us, and they were really impressed with it. And even, we've had a lot of towns ask us about the website, and I know that Boxborough is starting up an EDC, and, we've had, for a small town with our website and our social media, I mean, I think it's pretty impressive, at least
Yeah.
from just,
Mm-hmm.
we're not all marketing people, we're just, volunteers, so I think we're doing really good with that, presenting the business as well, so.
Yeah, I think the stories are great too, just cause
Yeah.
it's a, you know, it's a nice way of connecting all the
Yeah.
businesses that are here in town and,
Yeah.
you know, tell
Yeah.
a little bit behind their stories.
Yeah.
It's nice to
Yeah.
know about it.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
alright, so we're already in October,
Yep.
and on to the next thing. We do the wreaths every year. I assume people wanna do it again.
What was the break-even amount like? Did we make a lot of money last year?
Yeah, we're always in the positive.
Yeah, it's pretty successful. I
Yeah.
don't have the
Okay.
ledger printed out, but.
To the point of, that Hometown Heroes project that's going on, which is gonna be going up, I believe, in November, right?
So that's.
We
so
paid for the,
The brackets. for
so
the-
we gave them $800, so 20 sets of $40 brackets.
Right,
So, actually, that's one thing that we have to write up and thank the businesses, over the past many years that have donated, to say that, the businesses that donated, you know, through the Breathe project to this, to the Hometown Heroes banner project. So, did they already got their money, or?
They submit a invoice?
Well, we said that we voted on it, so when they're done, you know.
Yeah, I'll need an
I'll have to talk
invoice
to
to.
Ken.
yeah, I never found out with Karen to see where she was at with any of it at this
Yeah,
point.
I'll talk to
I know we
Karen.
allocated money to spend toward it, I
Yeah.
just don't know where she's at.
She knows
with
the
the
$800
effort.
is,
Sure, okay.
yeah, she knows about
But
it, so.
I do
we-
need an invoice
Yeah,
to
okay.
actually get the money
Yeah.
released.
I think they're still working on fundraising to get the actual banners,
Okay.
and she has the brackets in mind, so. But yeah, so we're always running a positive on that, which could go towards other things. So we'll definitely do that. We typically start marketing it in like mid-October and try to get everybody,
You talking about the Wreath project?
yeah,
Okay.
try to, what is it, mid-November, is it? Cause we hang them in early December.
And we typically like to hang them right around after Thanksgiving, but I think this past year, they went the first week of December, beginning of the week of December,
Yeah.
but I think ideally we wanna hang them up like right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right after, yeah, whenever we
Literally
get people.
a week right after.
So we'll do that,
But we're gonna, so we should need to work on the letter than what we used last year, then, we just need to sort of
yeah, just
it.
update that, yeah, I
Okay.
can update that, it really, it's not too much work.
And we
to
sort
do.
of, I think the way we sort of marketed it last year is we just sent emails, right, to
Yeah.
the members of the town?
Yeah, we didn't,
Business guild and stuff.
yeah, we just did to the business, we didn't really ask.
And I think we put it on our Facebook page too, right? Do we
I'm
put
sure
it?
we-
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So
Um,
update the flyer and send it
yeah.
out by,
Yeah,
in like a week or two then? By end
Yeah.
of October?
Yeah.
end of October would be ideal, yeah.
Yeah,
And maybe we do another email campaign,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
mid-November, just to
Yeah.
remind them.
yeah. Oh, so that actually reminds me of, I know you did the Halloween parade, the
Mhm.
Halloween
Thing,
trick or
yeah.
treating. Did you wanna do that again, or did
Not
anybody?
especially.
Huh?
Not especially.
Yeah, it was kind of chaotic, right, that day?
Yeah, and there's really, I think
Not
there's,
much gain,
exactly, I think
Yeah.
there's zero gain, frankly.
yeah,
Yeah, I think there's gotta be a better way,
to what?
make an impact.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know,
That's
there's
fine.
no visibility, there's no nothing.
Well, you had those little flyers, but who's looking at
Yeah,
that? That's
exactly.
fine, if
Yeah.
you don't think it's, if you didn't think it was that great, it's
Yeah.
fine. If anybody wanted to do it, they could, but.
Yeah,
What exactly is it?
So, they have the trick or treat parade where the kids, there's like 300 or 400 kids, there was a lot of
yeah,
kids.
there's a lot of kids.
So they march from, in costume from like the library, they went from Memorial Field to Main Street, and then they go around the school and they set up a trick or treat alley.
Okay,
And there's like businesses and stuff kinda handing things out.
okay.
So
Okay.
Gwen was there last day, and I created like a little flyer with our website and stuff on it to hand out with candy, but
You know,
Who's really looking at
Yeah,
it?
yeah, I got
It's
that.
so chaotic and
Yeah,
crowded that I
yeah.
don't think anyone's really even looking at who's
No,
handing
yeah.
this stuff out, to be
No,
honest.
Kids just want candy.
just make sure,
I want
your
candy.
kids make it through it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just give me the chocolate and get out of my.
Yeah,
way.
Right.
yeah, so that's fine, yeah, we don't
Yeah.
need to do that,
Yeah,
it's just about last year. Welcome sign update, maintenance fee and management discussion, so, you know, Chris was talking about getting like a landscaper and all this stuff, but, you know, that never happened. So I ended up just the guy who does my lawn,
Yeah, you know, the funny thing is, I don't think we need someone there every week cutting it, it looks like. I think maybe twice a year, we probably need someone out there to do
Well,
it,
that's
and
what,
that's it.
so
maybe-
it grew about as high
I
as the sign.
remember, it got tall. It
Yeah,
got really
so-
tall.
so he went out
And
there.
nobody was getting back to me.
He charged us $250, which is fine, because we had $50, $500 of maintenance fee.
Right, so I don't know whether or not that got paid, I turned it over.
No, he has to give a W-9.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for a one-time cut.
Well, so, but it wasn't just like mowing it, there was
Okay.
like, he said there was things, he had to go in with like, I don't know what it's called.
A
but-
rototiller?
Yeah, I mean, he said just the weed whacker wouldn't do it, it was like
Okay.
really
Okay,
thick, big stuff, but
okay.
it was kind of a bind, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know
yeah,
who to
yeah.
get.
Yeah, I
So
know.
he was there a few hours, so, but, you know, if we can get a landscaper to do it and put something that will, well, we should focus on, try to get that, somebody, if
Okay.
anybody knows a landscaper or somebody
There's a
that,
guy from Bolton that we use, if he's in here. I'll send you, if he's not in here, I'll send you his information.
Mhm.
It's
Amy
not-
knows everybody too.
yeah.
Amy's the governess.
Yeah,
His name is Mark Sargent.
Understand.
okay,
From Bolton, and we recommend him.
yeah, I
to
mean,
people,
they-
yeah.
we said that they could put their name in the front, you know, like a little tiny sign, you know, maintained by so-and-so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If they just wanna maintain it, that would be good, you know, we do have maintenance.
And nobody was getting back to me at the beginning, like,
Yeah.
I figured it'd be easy, but it really wasn't. No one in their, nobody was getting back
I
to me.
mean,
Because
so
they're all
having-
married, they're like.
Yeah, having the welcome sign is an awesome thing, but if it looks like, you know,
I think what we need to
Looks
find is
overgrown,
someone who's
isn't
just
it?
starting a lawn care business.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna really want the free advertisement, that they'll be
Yeah.
able to just
There was
plop
something
the sign.
just on, trying to think of who it was, Mike Snow said his son's trying to get into it,
okay, that'd be fine.
so this is where,
Yeah.
I know him, I can ask him.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And more.
Yeah, and then, like, so we can digitally, you know, thank him and put his name out there, but then also if you wanted to put a little sign, a little
Yeah.
political sign size thing. Yeah,
And that would be like what, well, I can just.
once or twice
reach
a
out
year
to him.
probably a spring cleanup and then in August or something, I don't know. Just whatever they think, just maintain it so we don't have to worry about it. And like you said, probably twice a year.
Yeah, all it really needs, if I had like an electric trimmer, I'd probably go over and do it, but I don't have, I don't want a gas one because they always just die on me after like 1 year and I just don't wanna deal with it.
Yeah. But it was looking pretty ragged.
It was pretty tough, yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Where do we stand with, the open slot and businesses that wanna get on, Erica?
It's reserved for a farm, so
Yeah,
I talked to Teresa probably a year ago, whether or not we could use that slot for a business, and the Ag Commission would really like to.
yeah. So the
Keep it
one,
open
so the
for
one
farm.
uneven open spot, that's for the
Yeah.
farm. Like, so there's no other big farms in town, so one of the small farms can get on maybe, like along Hill or,
Maybe.
yeah. So maybe we should email a few,
Mm-hmm.
cause I know that they have like a little farm stand now,
Long Hill Farm does.
yeah,
I know they have a website.
yeah.
Okay.
I know there's,
What about New Grange Farm?
yeah, or New Grange, yeah, one of those, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it costs $50 a year to get on it, right? Is that what it is?
Well, no, originally
Oh.
it cost, it was $500.
Yeah, oh, cause we
Yeah,
had to pay to get it signed.
Yeah.
Assignment, yeah, the piece
Yeah.
bag, yeah.
So it has to be somebody willing to do that, that's a small farm, so might not
Yeah,
wanna do
because
it.
then the sign would have to be made and.
Yeah, so that's probably why you don't have smaller farms doing it, yeah. Oh, well, actually, but the farms didn't pay for that. It
They
came-
didn't because the Ag Commission used part of their,
Yeah. so
their
maybe they-
budget, but I don't know if they'd be willing to do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. And we talked about if we should add another row, but I think you would just, if you add another row, then, cause we have like 2 or 3 businesses that wanna get on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody that's on there is paying their $50 and,
And nobody, I mean, I thought like an idea was maybe add a few more at the bottom.
well, yeah,
but-
but then does it get too busy?
Well, I don't think adding another additional row is gonna make it very busy, but it'd be 3 more businesses we can add on there, the way I
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna add like 4 more rows with 12 more businesses, then that's busy, for sure.
Yeah.
But 1 more row, not bad at all.
Yeah, yeah, that's something we can talk about. Let's see what else. Social media and articles update. So as I said before, social media's grown great. Amy's pumping out articles, so that's good.
Yeah, I need
Go
some
Amy.
more
Yeah.
to do.
Here's some
Um,
ideas. She was telling me about that yesterday, you didn't give her any lately.
Do your friend,
I just need you to tell me what to do.
And she'll just do it,
you
yeah.
could do, your friend Wendy there.
Yeah,
She just got the barn by law.
did she? Okay, all right, yeah, definitely.
New
Going to
business
Friday.
wise, what's the name of the, well, actually, I have the list in email. There's a list in, so we'll get to it, but, yeah, so, there's that one. New businesses. Graydon Therapeutics at 626. So that's a new business. Are they associated with the essential oils one, or?
Separate business.
What are they called?
Graydon Therapeutics,
And what do they do?
Great
massage therapy.
Massage.
I think
Oh.
it's like acupuncture too.
Okay,
I
all right,
think.
that's great, that, people would really love to hear about that.
Are you saying Great Road?
Graydon, Gray.
Oh, okay,
DEM Therapeutics,
okay.
and the woman's name is Deborah Graydon. Makes sense, then.
That makes much sense.
Have we ever done a follow-up story with, the therapeutic, cultivated care down the road? Like a follow-up
We
positive story?
haven't,
them?
I have talked to them occasionally.
Debbie would love to, I think, now that they've sort of settled in and we've got over that,
Yeah.
that.
Well, we haven't got over it
bad
though, the town's, we haven't got over
Yeah.
anything, unfortunately.
But we drive by there every day and I always wonder like, so what are they doing? You know,
Our kids have
going.
gone, worked there, and one of our kids actually, 2 of our kids volunteer there, and one of our kids actually goes there for therapy,
They have,
so.
it's a
That's
really
been great
awesome
for us.
business where they use, animals and stuff for
Mhm.
therapy.
Yep.
Um,
And they've like really fixed up the,
Yeah.
like, I remember before they moved in, it was like, kind of
yeah,
ramshackle a little
Yeah,
bit, but, and they've really like.
yeah, they've
developed
been
the whole
improving
place.
as they go.
Yeah.
So the problem is, they wanna be treated as a farm, which you were there, they're a farm.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
But, I don't wanna get into the politics of it, but it was deemed not a farm.
Mhm.
So there's a current lawsuit in town and stuff, so it's kind of messy behind the scenes, to say the least.
So no press, is probably good press right now.
Well, no, but, yeah, I mean.
So they're located on Main Street, right?
Yeah,
401.
I think what they're doing is great though for
They're-
kids and
Yeah.
adults and.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
At the intersection of Long Hill and
Yeah.
Main Street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Our kids had the
Yeah.
first year they opened up, our kids were there 2-3 days a week, like 8 hours a day during the summer, and they had a wonderful experience just working with the animals.
so they
and
volunteered
feeding
there?
them, absolutely, they volunteered, they're like 8 hours a day for a few days a
That's great.
week, both of them, yeah.
Yeah,
And, they loved it. At first, they weren't very willing participants, but after day 1, really, they wanted to go back the following day. And they're feeding baby goats and it was just really great stuff that they were doing.
yeah, well, so did we,
Cleaning up the
remind me,
property and-
yeah, so you went there with,
Chris, was it Chris? Yeah.
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 and you guys wrote up a really nice story
Yeah.
about
yeah.
it, and we backed them, but the ZBA, so the ZBA ended up, giving them, they said they could be an in-home business, right, Erica?
Correct, yep.
Which limits their scope, to the point of they wouldn't be able to operate as they are. So, they're going back at the town for that, determination. So it is a little messy. So
Yeah.
Long Hill Farm,
Our youngest goes there twice a month, so,
which we've already done.
Yeah.
for therapy.
Is an in-home business, total home inspections, in-home business.
Did anything, what's happening with the, that pool
Oh.
company or whatever that was?
So
getting-
actually,
Yeah, they're-
Erica just said that.
I met with him recently at my house.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Just, I got a quote from him for a
Yeah.
Oh, I asked you in a separate email, but you said that they're coming in, right?
They are, so I met with him informally, again, he wanted to go through the special permit process one more time before he submitted, so I anticipate, they're really busy, so
Yeah.
whenever their season starts to
Yeah.
wind down, I
Yeah.
expect they'll make a submission,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, their work, I follow them on Facebook and they put pictures of their pools.
And they do really
It
nice
looks
work.
amazing. Total Home Inspections of New England, it's just an in-home business. Eva Watts Company, home occupation, software development, in-home. So this is the one I was thinking of, family perspectives, treat families and children with special needs, autism, and they're in Paragon.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So-
right, they moved down there just recently.
Oh,
It's a former faculty member at Neshoba.
okay,
Nice lady, yeah.
so you know of them?
I do,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we should probably do a story on them,
Yeah, it'd be great,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be.
good people,
that'd be
very
okay.
nice people.
Alright.
cause I know Paragon was talking about potentially having a daycare in there, but they must have gone this way.
I'm trying to think of her.
They probably have room
woman's
though,
name.
right?
She's very nice though.
Yeah. Or maybe there's.
I'm sure that's still on the table, and
Okay.
last time I spoke to them, they were trying to work out a lease agreement with that particular daycare
Yeah,
provider, so I don't know if that worked out or not.
yeah.
Burdick is her last name.
Burdick?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's her first name.
For,
My son just calls her Mrs. Burdick, so it's.
I'll call her
So-
Mrs.
I
Burdick.
just know her as Mrs.
well, so the contact here is Brian Kowalski. Kowalski, that's the contact at least, right?
He started the company, I know
Yeah.
there's several members,
Yeah.
so,
I'm sure I can figure it out.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so, yeah, that would be a really good.
That's her first name.
And also, cause a couple of years ago, we were really highlighting the industrial area, so make, putting other uses in there and stuff, I
Mm-hmm,
think is good,
yeah, I didn't know that they were there, so that's.
yeah,
They just moved in July, so they
Okay.
haven't been there that long.
so that would be good. We talked about environmental pools. There is, well, I guess we'll get into that after, so.
This will get me started.
I think her
Yeah.
first name is Paulette,
Paulette,
yeah.
that's
I was
gonna
gonna
kill you,
text my
so you
wife.
figured it
Yeah,
out, right?
Right, exactly, I was like, oh my god.
So then the other things, like bigger stories, I was thinking like, we haven't really, not that Bolton Orchards needs advertisement, but kind of, one story that I always thought could get done is, because they have the solar farms, the Davis family, and so they, how, speaking of cultivate care, how like farmland could be used innovatively to preserve it, because farming on a small scale is really hard to, make positive gains, and as a town, we definitely wanna keep the farmland and that feel of town. So how can we be innovative with our farmland to keep the farmland? And one, so cultivate care is using the farmland to do their therapy. The Davis family has the 2 solar arrays, which is 7.5 megawatts, which could power about 2,000 homes each year. So they get money for that. So even if it's a bad
Yeah.
harvest or whatever, they kind of normalized their ups and downs
Mm-hmm,
by using their land for that.
Yeah.
So kind of a story on ways that farms could, I guess this is like, I don't know how deep, in-depth reporting you
sounds
want to
beyond
get.
my capability
Yeah.
now.
But I'm just
No.
saying,
I did actually talk to Joel one time when I was in there, because we had, I think
Yeah.
you had mentioned this before, and he said, yeah, no, we should do it, and he
Yeah.
wanted me to talk to his
Yeah.
dad, the guy with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
But we just never,
yeah, well, like you said, I mean, that is,
no,
it's
I
a deep,
could try.
it could be like a deep
Journalist.
story on, farming and,
Yeah.
farming in the current day and,
Mhm.
even like when you look at Bolton Spring Farm, they're making all their money on everything that surrounds the farming. It's just not like an agribusiness, it's, the pies they sell and
Trees,
the tree, yeah, like,
everything.
and the picking, so. So I'm thinking a huge expose on farms and how they can survive in today's world. I mean, 30
We have money in our
pages.
budget.
And we're expecting a Pulitzer out of this. I want to see a Pulitzer.
Amy's gonna be an expert on farms, she's
I
like,
know.
Yes.
oh my god, not another farm.
We now have the scientists to get into it.
There was actually a business I visited in England that, it's like the biotech company, and then down the road they have a farm with the sheep
Yeah,
that they use, so
Yeah.
I was like, could you get one of those around here?
yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that's,
Okay, I got it.
I
On
think
it.
an interview with Mr.
There is
Davis
a
would be
place right on,
interesting.
right down the road, right 117 that actually raises sheep. I always see them on the left-hand side of the road when I.
He's a really interesting guy
Yeah.
too, I think it'd be great.
Oh, what's up with you?
yeah, so if you wanna narrow your
As soon
approach.
as you pass them over, you take a left,
Bob.
take a right, as soon as you pass the mobile station, take the right, heading down like towards Century. Yeah, they're on the left, yeah. I always see sheep in there.
Because really, especially this time of year,
Doing
I
something
mean,
with the wool, I mean.
we were at
I
baseball
wonder if they have like a home
on
business.
Saturday at 1 on Memorial Field, and the traffic going to and from Neshoba was just insane. The amount of people that are coming into town because of the farms, Bolton Spring,
Yeah.
Neshoba, Bolton Orchards. It's
Apple
just,
picking is huge.
it's just incredible.
Very annoying.
Right,
Yeah,
but it's
when
bringing
you
it.
guys run across the street.
If you're like
now,
running a
realize-
little late for a soccer
Amy, it's okay
game.
if you think that, we
Yeah.
not at the EDC meeting.
Yes.
Internal traffic, you can say that.
So, you know, we brought, which the next up was brochures, but, you know, I can't keep the brochures in Neshoba Valley, because you know, they say every other person that comes through, they wanna go to eat, and their first is Jay's, but Jay's is completely booked up. So they're like, where else can you go? So they show them the brochure, and, you know, they send them to all the restaurants. So, you know, all that traffic coming in is definitely being spread out to the other businesses, and, you know, the brochures really come in.
Yeah, we probably wanna start the update effort probably around November, December with,
Yeah.
Minuteman,
Yeah.
just new
Yeah.
updates and stuff to get that going.
So any, you know, and I could help you with this too, like any, you know, or I know you were interested in potentially some stories, you know, like just on the business that's, you know, all the money that comes into town during apple season and how it gets spread throughout Country Cupboard, Bolton Orchard, you know, and even the smaller farms and stuff like that. I know, like, many years ago, you know, when we first started doing this in like 2012, we were just talking taxes and all this stuff, and people just didn't connect with it. But then we started talking like, how do we brand Bolton and like, you know, that. Well, just what we did with the, you know, farmers market, like branding Bolton and the apples and the agribusiness, and,
Yeah.
you know, 'cause that's really what we are, right? So,
But important that we don't wanna ignore other businesses in town too, like what's the underground dog fence company that's in town, right over at Country Cupboard?
yeah.
Dog Watch, have you ever done a story on them yet? I mean, they're a little different in terms of a normal story that we do, but maybe we highlight them.
Yeah.
And they would probably love the exposure.
Yeah.
We'd never gone on.
Well,
really to
and
really
also
meet with them.
you know, I've intended to, write more stories on Paragon, and, there's a couple of companies in, the Office Park, you know, so those type of ones. But yeah, you're right.
I think,
Yeah.
I think we should do one on the dog
Yeah.
watch. I mean, I
Yeah.
see them, I
Yeah.
mean, and we're gonna be getting a lot, probably a
Yeah.
electric fence for our dogs, so.
But even, more along those lines is, you know, when we went into 2 years ago, when we had our, breakfast in Paragon, I took like a bunch of pictures of the manufacturing floor, and just like posting on Facebook, I wanted to say something like, you know, what town is this in? Like, you wouldn't even know that you were in Bolton. And when you're on the outside of the building, you wouldn't even know that that's what was in there. So you can have these industrial kind of,
Well, the funny thing, the back side of the building, it looks like a warehouse, and then you drive around front of it, it looks like an office building.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's really funny. I mean,
But you don't even
from the back-
realize-
From the road, you're
from
like,
the
oh,
road,
it's
you
an
don't
old,
even see it.
it's like an old manufacturing building, but when you drive around front, no, it's a huge office
and
building.
then you went in, right? So you go,
Yeah,
you
it
go,
was
you
like-
go on this like landing, looking over,
Yeah.
it's like, where the heck am I?
Yeah.
Like, how does this?
Yeah.
And they have hundreds of employees that come in and out.
Yeah.
You know, their big concern is, you know, traffic going through town and stuff, you know, so we can get into that at another time, but,
We've
you
been
know,
talking about that for years.
yeah,
Nothing
I'm
happened.
telling you, it was worse.
It's
Believe it or not, it
much
was a
worse.
lot worse.
yeah,
When digital was in its heyday in Maynard, it was exponentially worse.
So, just, cause now that we've increased the area where, an industrial business can build on acreage wise, there is an open lot to the left of the old Cobham building. We have the Cobham building and then Paragon, so just marketing those and stories on those businesses too. So I have next up brochure update, which we've almost distributed mostly all of them. I think I have like 100 more, so I could probably just go dump them off in the show and be done with it. I saw, you know, I think, did you bring them to the
I
hotel?
brought, yeah, I brought him to, I gave him to Kevin, and
Yeah.
obviously he owns it, so
Yeah.
made sure they went out.
I know they were asking for them, so, I think they were spread out pretty well. I saw, you know, them in multiple places at Meadsowitz and Bolton Orchards and,
Bean?
huh? I think we brought some there, did we?
I didn't do the bean.
Yeah, I don't know.
I still have some left, I can go
Yeah.
check there and see.
Oh, so there
They
were
were
some that,
receptive to the,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the flyer for the market, so
Yeah.
they might be fine
Yeah.
with it.
yeah. I'm gonna submit before our next meeting, so we submitted with, the Johnny Appleseed Trail Association, in like June. And they would do a matching deal for printing, cause we've been paying $250 for 1,000. And we pretty much use all 1,000 each year, so if we can get 2,000 for the same price, or it might even be cheaper, I don't know.
Yeah, the more you print, the cheaper it is, so
Um,
actually maybe we just start off with 2,000 for a print.
But what he said is, he said submit in the summer, so now it's past the summer, so I should do it. Because when I did it in June, all the money was already used up.
Right.
So I'll do that this month, you know, so we can pretty much double our brochures for the month, hopefully, as long as we get the grant from them. And I gave them some too, so they have,
Yeah, for their, okay.
yeah, for their, kiosk. I haven't been up there. Were you up there? Yeah. It's like a visitor center,
Yeah,
so whatever
yeah.
it is. Anyway, you know, this is like minor updates, we need to go to do the brochure, nothing.
Yeah, we need to take off the antique store.
Yeah, but-
I wanna make sure we get, Twin Springs little restaurant name in there, cause I don't
Oh,
think,
yeah.
I think we failed to do that this past
Okay.
year, so I'll make sure that gets in
Yeah.
there.
yeah, just minor updates,
Yeah,
we'll do that, and
yeah.
like you said.
I'll get, yeah, we'll start
Yeah,
it,
you do that.
I'll start it probably mid-November. just
So
to
maybe
get
we
them
should,
going.
you know, I'll do the grant money, but maybe we don't print again until we make the updates.
Yeah, I can do that, and I'll run with the updates.
Okay, that sounds good. Discuss town and business events, promotion and data collection. So, Scott actually put time into doing that. With the whole backyard bulletin thing, we never got to like make it a marketing type thing, but what you did is good, sorry.
No, no worries.
But with the format you did was good. And I know that Amy, I see that you put out your Facebook posts with events in the area and stuff.
Yeah,
So, you know, if we can combine that info, and maybe it doesn't happen this year, but definitely, he created like an Excel sheet where, you know, all the dates and businesses and the events, so we can use that format moving forward as a data collection type thing, and we put it on, was it on Google Docs, or did you just give it to
Yeah,
me?
it's just on a Google sheet. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, so, you know, we can all have access to it and just dump information in there, and then next year, we can create, you know, for the brochure, I was thinking like an insert, but then just an 8x11 PDF that, you know, I could share on Facebook and could get posted in different places, and shared around. But just with getting backyard bulletin and everything, there just wasn't enough cycles to make a final product out of it.
Sure.
I guess there's still stuff going in town, so maybe we could do it in the next few weeks, I mean, this, you know, we'll see.
Is there a simple way to get that information to feed into like the website directly from the company, so it's sort of a constant feed and sustainable throughout the year?
No, because you need to have like a password,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to enter the stuff. But if it's in an easy format like you have,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, we have a group of people doing it, and it's kind of like a cut and paste.
Yeah, you can do like a Google, like a survey.
Yeah,
And you send it out monthly or quarterly.
yeah,
It's got the fields pre-populated, pretty easy to put
Yeah.
it together. And that way they
Yeah.
can send it in, it's got all the information
Yeah.
directly from them,
yeah.
and then we just collate it. and
Well,
post
what
it.
we could do is we could, not necessarily to our webpage, but we could just give businesses access, you just add an email, give them access to the Google sheet,
Yeah, totally.
and then they can populate your, actually, so that's probably the best thing, so
Pretty
you
easy
have,
for them, too.
so you have the sheet that you created,
Mhm.
so we could just add people's emails and say, hey, just go in here and just enter your events,
Mhm.
and then then I think you know, an easy format to take it from there and enter it to the webpage.
Totally. I can,
Yeah.
I'm happy to take it a step further and see if I can put that together.
Yeah, that'd be
Totally.
great.
Got it.
Yeah, so then it would just reduce the cycles on us,
Yep.
and, Yeah, that would be good. Webpage. I've just been adding stories. I'm sure that stuff is already out of date on the webpage. So I don't know, like, Larissa, I know that you, I don't know. If you wanna just, every now and then, take a look and see if, I don't know, or others, you know, whoever.
Yeah, I
If
can
things
look
are
at-
out of date, you know, just, cause you, so you went through the training, you half went through the training.
Yeah, I got it on that.
I've been going in and just doing posts, I haven't done anything with like
I'm sorry.
updating tabs, but I did play around with like moving the news and events tab, so I know how to do it. It's not too hard, it's really pretty
It's
easy.
pretty intuitive. I
Yeah.
mean, I do our company website right now, and
Yeah.
my company, so
Yeah.
not that I'm doing a lot in terms of like
Yeah.
moving stuff around, but I put a lot of content out there.
Well, like the pictures that flash through are kind of like outdated now, so, and I would like to make them more seasonal.
They're nice pictures though.
They are nice pictures,
Yeah.
but it,
But if we're gonna replace it, we need to make sure that they have really good pictures replacing them.
Yeah.
Because it does flow very nicely.
yeah,
The flow is
Yeah.
really, Pretty.
but it would be nice to have things that are more,
Did you take any pictures of the farmer's market?
yeah, just, not like professionally, just on my
Mhm.
phone.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know, I could see how they look blown up, but
yeah,
just on my phone.
yeah. We had talked about using a Kennedy, right? Or, you know, Ewing
Yeah,
Kennedy?
Ewing.
Yeah, about using them potentially to do.
Well, so, I don't know where
Chris
they
was
are.
exploring
She's-
that.
Well, she's really busy all the time, but I know that she was talking about doing like a photo project of businesses and stuff around town, so I should touch base
Do
back.
you want me
with
to
her.
run with that?
Yeah, if you wanna
Yeah.
contact her and see if she's done any of it,
Or maybe she just wants some guidance and,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll talk offline more about that, and
Yeah,
I'll
that'd
some
be good.
ideas, and
Yeah.
then I'll reach out to her.
yeah, like if you wanna, since you're saying that you're the webpage guru, if you wanna
Uh-oh.
update photos or just like make the webpage more interesting seasonally.
Okay.
Because we do, so when we do the stories, the analytics, you know, it pumps up, you know, like a few hundred people always go to the website, and then it filters out to the other pages, right? And then it kinda dies down, because typically you're not going to the website, so we have to maybe figure out how to make sure it's getting into Google search engines, like, if you Google Bolton.
Right, yeah, okay,
Like,
okay.
I don't know how you do that,
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's,
like,
SEO, search
SEO.
engine optimization.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just hired someone at the
Like-
company for that.
yeah, it's like if we can add words or phrases or anything that will.
That costs money.
Yeah, but you see, you're the expert, so,
I'm not an expert,
Yeah.
but I know that costs money.
yeah,
It's a lot of
Yeah.
corn.
huh?
It's
It's a lot of
corn.
Yeah, yeah,
I think the more people that go to it, the higher up on the
yeah, maybe,
thing it goes too.
But if you want really,
Click on it tonight
yeah,
if you want.
yeah.
Yes, keep clicking.
Refresh. Yeah, so every time I put a story on there, it goes like this, you know, so that's what we have. But I wonder if, because every time people go, and they do, I see they filter out, I forget what it's called, the dead rate or some bounce rate, yeah, bounce rate, that's what it is. Like 20% of the people, well, 80% of the people look at the story and then just leave, but 20% of people start filtering through the rest of the site. And if it looks the same all the time, I wonder if they're just like, and then they stop doing
well,
it.
I think the biggest part that I thought was most important is the area where we have like the blog, where we
Yeah.
can add in stories.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
Well, so
biggest
that's what
area
I'm
where we
doing,
can add a lot
Yeah.
to.
Well, so right now it's just stories, but if it was like, the thing is like, I mean, I don't even go to websites, you know, so the website's I think good for like a marketing tool for businesses, and like when businesses, if they wanna come in, we could direct them to our website and things, but people on the normal, I think, just work through social media for the most part. I mean, people aren't going to websites. Websites are kinda like,
I mean, you go to get information.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, right. But like for like updates and stories,
Mhm.
you kinda just live in social media for the most part.
mhm.
I don't know.
I'm trending away from that,
Huh?
but, I said, I'm trying to trend away from that, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a lot at times, just cause there's so much out there. You
Yeah.
gotta start to
Yeah.
go and navigate this,
Yeah,
you actually get to control the
But
content you're
I'm
looking at.
Yeah,
sure-
I kind
I'm-
of just go to
I'm
three
sure
different
people-
sites and I just find what I want.
I'm sure people are Googling Bolton, and if somehow
Oh,
we
yeah,
can,
when we were first moving into town, I was
Yeah.
going to town all the
Yeah.
time, yeah.
and actually, I know when you Google Bolton, like this weird webpage comes up that I don't even know who runs it, like facts about Bolton and stuff. If we could somehow figure out how to get our webpage up in there, then we'd get more visitors. So that's something somebody, if you wanna tackle
Let's
that,
talk about that offline.
yeah. Sounds like you don't wanna tackle that,
I mean, I'll tackle a few things, but
Yeah,
I'll look
yeah,
into that.
but, yeah, that sounds like,
Well, I mean,
it
if
sounds like
if
you
they're,
said enough, yeah,
yeah, I wonder why they're getting all this road traffic,
Yeah.
that is a good question.
yeah. Anyway,
It
so
could be
something
just
to
the
look
word,
at.
it could be just they're putting,
Yeah.
I mean, like what is our economic development committee site, what's the actual, it's www dot.
Destination.
There you go, we got destination first.
Yeah,
If we had
sure.
Bolton first, Bolton destination, that'd be different.
Yeah,
That's what, it's all about keyword search, so that's
Yeah.
probably why that search is coming up first for that specifically.
I find it
because
hard
it's-
sometimes to find it.
Yeah, so
Now that I
you,
know what it is.
cause it's,
Yeah,
well, it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
just Destination Bolton, it's Destination
Destination
Bolton
Bolton.
MA.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
Right.
so I mean, but there's Bolton, it's a Bolton, Connecticut, there's probably millions of Boltons all around.
Yeah.
There's Bolton
Well,
Orchard,
there's a Bolton.
Bolton
Yeah.
Farms, there's Bolton.
So maybe it needs a
Bolton,
name
Bolton.
change, yeah,
I don't know.
maybe it needs a name change, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
if possible, yeah.
So,
I can speak to Lisa about that.
so discuss new businesses, which we,
I'll speak to Lisa about the name change
Yeah.
potentially.
yeah, that's fine. We talked about the new businesses,
Eric, we have a question.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, you'll lock that door when you leave.
yep,
right?
we will,
Thanks.
yeah. Mr. Chairman. Weird. Okay, interesting, okay, so, business updates. The Cobham building has interest from a recreational marijuana, is that still,
And they had reached out to me a few weeks ago when it
Is
came
that
from
this-
planning board.
Is that from a local, I remember we had that woman had come in that.
no, this would be like an industrial.
Whatever happened with that woman?
Kate?
Kate?
She, on top of fights, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
She just so the planning board voted not to back her bylaw, so if it failed at town meeting, then,
I just think it was, I wouldn't want that growing in my basement,
yeah,
so I just.
or the neighbor's basement.
Yeah, I just,
Yeah,
kids are kids and, oh, my neighbor has that,
Yeah.
okay. You never
The-
know.
I mean, as a member of the planning board, I didn't think it was a great idea. I understood, so
Yeah.
Teresa Sasao wanted, I said innovative uses for farms.
Yeah,
And the state put out this small scale farm, recreational farm, but we don't have like an agricultural zone, we only have residential zone and we're a farm, so, if you allowed a farm in the residential zone to do it, anybody's house could end up doing it, and there's like all these security measures, and, I don't know, me personally, I just felt like you'd be doing more harm than good, so that's why I voted not to back it, and I think that's we unanimously voted not to back it for that,
I was just wondering.
yeah. So,
And a place opened up in Hudson, a place that sells, it's Temsco Wellness.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
mean, you wouldn't
actually
even,
sell- yeah, you wouldn't know from the outside that that's what they're
you
doing.
wouldn't even know
They're-
that's what they're doing.
But it's medical
Otherwise-
marijuana they're
yeah,
selling.
yeah. But so, Cobham is an industrial building, I think that they would be producing it there, which is,
It's a big building,
it's a big building,
Yeah.
and it would be a lot of money for the town.
so where are we
And
at
they're
with that?
allowed zoning wise.
Just starting, or,
They just contact
It
us,
was just
right?
an inquiry
Yeah,
at this
okay.
point, so,
yeah, all right, okay,
if they're interested, they'll reach back out to us.
okay.
Have you heard anything else from the owners of Cobham?
No.
Cobham is 58 Main Street, it's, as you're going towards Stowe, it's the two buildings up the hill, kinda in front of
Right.
Bolton Woods Way.
Mm-hmm.
On the right.
They've been for sale for a couple of years, and it's been vacant for like 7 years. We toured there a couple of years ago, and it's a pretty nice building, pretty nice facility.
What's up with
They
Bolton,
keep it-
what was the Bolton office park update about, anything going on there?
So they talked to us, they Condyne talked to me at the business meeting we had in April, and they've also talked to Erica. They would love to be able to use the village overlay and redevelop that entire parcel. I think he was talking about even removing one of the office buildings and just keeping one of them, and doing a mixed use kind of whole development. Their problem is,
When you say mixed use, is residential or?
so a few years ago, we passed a mixed use village overlay, which allows for, you take an entire, so right now, just when you have a business lot, you can have one building with so many acres.
Right.
But the mixed-use village overlay allows to have multiple pads. It increases, well, originally it increased it from 8% to 10% coverage, but with our May town meeting, now it's 25% coverage. So it allows for use of business and residential, so whether it's shops with
Yeah, that'd be
second floor,
great.
shops with apartments on the second
Yeah,
floor,
that's a good idea.
which would, which, you know, if their rentals would be affordable and would help us out as a town with our affordable housing. Or it was some row of businesses would say, you know, like, what's it called in Northborough? Either they have like the townhouse type things,
Yeah,
or
okay.
like an apartment, but not
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
allow apartment buildings, but there's maybe townhouses in the back or something, you know, some use, you know, mixed use of residential and business. And so they were very interested in that. Their problem is private sewer.
Yeah.
So each lot is only allowed, tell me if I'm wrong, each lot is only allowed 10,000 gallons per day, and they're already pretty much at that. They kind of wanted to see if they could split it up into different lots, but because they're the same owner, the Mass DEP said that no, we still consider you one. You know, you can't divide it up and have 10,000. So what they're stuck with is potentially coming up with a private sewer system, which actually 626 Main Street has. And if you ask Frank, it was a lot of money. And, you know, you have to, somebody,
What was that, 100,000, 200,000?
I mean, it was probably even more than that he put into it. But, you know, that's a small system. You know, they'd have to put in a huge treatment plant. So they asked us about,
The sewer line.
could they tie into the municipal sewer system? And, you know, we've talked about this for many years, and the new people here, you know, we've talked about, and we went to even the Board of Selectmen for this, you know, a public sewer system from Harvard Road on Main Street down to the Bolton Manor, you know, for residential, because the residential needs it, that's one piece. But then also a sewer system for Office Park, Kane property, you know, really, businesses can't.
School's tied in already.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the school
They
and
built it
municipal.
for the
It's
school.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just not used to capacity, that's the thing, there's not more
Ah.
capacity on
Yeah.
it.
So it's not used to capacity, they use about 13,000 gallons a day, it's like a 40,000 gallon system, but what you really gotta look at is Title V. You know, Title V oversubscribes, you know, what you actually need, so it's probably, even though you only use 13,000 gallons of system, Title V might say you need 30-something thousand gallons, so that needs to be looked at. But the question is, can the system we have be expanded? Would we want to allow the office park to tie into that, or the residences to tie into that? Would we wanna build another system for infrastructure to bring businesses in? Because clearly if we had, you know, a public system, the Kane property and the office park and, Bolton Corners, the Frida's property, which is on the other, you know, the other side of the road from the office park, it would be a lot more viable for businesses to come in. Being, you know, having private sewer and private well and like.
It's a nightmare. I mean,
It's a nightmare.
you're just
Yeah.
kicking the can down the road.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
There'll be
you have
lot
a
of-
business on
it's gonna
Main
be-
Street.
Well, there's gonna be a lot of houses that can't pass
Yeah,
down the road, because
Yeah.
the water table's so high. And
well, so that's the problem with
Good luck.
seven,
I gotta head out.
yeah, alright, thank you. That's the problem with 711 through 713 Main Street, which is the property right to the right of the
I think
common.
the
is-
people that are putting in a new well probably have the same problem.
Yep.
I mean, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw that
Show
truck
this
is
far
up on
apart.
the.
Yeah, it's, because it's not just a sewer, it's a water issue, because
Right.
you can't just put a well in next
Yeah.
to a septic system.
Right, exactly.
It's,
It's going right in the front.
personally, I.
So
think it needs to
really,
be addressed.
Bolton as a whole, we need, you know, we're living off of 300-year-old infrastructure. We need public sewer, public water.
But they confuse it, we're not looking for the whole town, that's the whole thing,
No.
when you talk about it, they're like, whoa.
No, we
oh my
need it,
God,
we need
we
it,
Can't afford that, but we're only
We-
talking about a
Business.
mile.
we need it from
Well,
Harvard
who's gonna pay
Road.
for it?
Yeah, but I think though that there's probably not a need because houses are so spread out. It's just
Yeah.
houses on Main Street.
Yeah,
They have a major problem.
Yeah.
I mean, the people across the street have
Yeah.
to have their tank emptied every month at
Yeah.
$1,000 a whack.
there's two
Imagine buying
houses,
a house like that?
there's two
There
houses,
are a few of them around.
there's two houses,
I think I'd die first.
there's two houses across the street that they have a shared assessment.
It's crazy.
They have a shared system tight tank that they get pumped every,
I mean,
that's what I was told.
One across the street
Yeah.
here, I think it's directly across from
Yeah.
here.
I think it's two houses are tied into it, I could be wrong,
Yeah.
that's what I was told. So
And
if
they
one
have to post
house,
a bond,
yeah,
yeah.
because they have to
It
make
has
sure
to have its
that,
own bank account.
right,
Yeah.
because they have to make sure that one doesn't, basically not fulfill the
yeah,
deal.
yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah. And that's pretty much most houses along this road, even though they have Title V in hand, it's like potentially 20-year-old Title V, you know? So, when they wanna sell, if somebody wants to sell, it's gonna severely impact the value of their house. So Harvard had recently updated their town, center with public sewer, and people had assessment fees and stuff, and betterment fees to pay for it. So technically, I went to in front of the Board of Selectmen, you could argue and do out the numbers, and you would need a whole committee for this, and that's kind of what we were talking about, is potentially it could pay for itself in the long run, but the town would have to front all the money to build it and upfront, so you'd have to get the entire
They
town.
could post a bond to do
Huh?
that. They could post a bond to do that, and
Yeah.
then we would just have to pay. Yeah, I honestly.
You'd have to get the
think
entire,
they're missing the boat, but
Yeah.
that's just my personal opinion.
there's an opinion in town, like, there's no political, there's no political parties in town, there's no Democrat, Republican. There's Main Street and not Main Street. That's kind of like the political parties in Bolton. And so if there's ever anything for Main Street, whether it's fixing up 17 or doing, if we ever brought like this public sewer for Main Street, I've already people said, why would, anybody not on Main Street, or many people not on Main Street say, why should I have to pay for their sewer system? But, we have to sell that, it's for the betterment of the town.
That's
Yeah.
like-
Well, they're
that's
not
like,
even.
Why do I pay for kids going to school then?
Right,
Yeah.
that's true,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, like-
That's the same argument. You don't have
Children
kids,
live
why
in
should I
town.
pay
Yeah.
for the school system?
Whereas the
Yeah.
school system is
It
why
brings
people move to
all
town,
out.
yeah.
But,
But that's what
maybe
it,
if you positioned it more as because for business,
Yeah.
not,
Yeah, I
and
think
not
that's-
even,
yeah.
well, or just down
The
the
houses
road, if
is
you have
just
all
a
these
vibe.
houses that can't pass.
Yeah,
you're
if you
gonna
get
have
a,
117, you're gonna be, oh, this is great, there's all
Yeah.
kinds of empty houses on Main Street.
Right,
Well,
you
it's-
end up with all,
they can't-
eventual
they don't have septic
foreclosures or
systems.
something, cause people are like, I'm out.
It's like, I don't
Yeah.
wanna, I don't wanna,
It's not worth it
I can't
anymore.
afford to put one in.
Yeah.
I mean, we put one in behind the office 10 years ago, and it was 6 figures all day
Mhm.
long. The water table is really high.
Yeah.
is that the problem, is that why they're all,
It's a number of issues,
Yeah.
but that's one of the bigger, that's what Frank, I mean, I give him credit.
Yeah.
For him to bite off that bullet and renovate that building,
I mean, I think
he really loved that building a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot of money.
I think he's some, like,
I heard
quarter,
250.
yeah, 250.
That's a
It's
lot of
just the
money.
sewage treatment. I mean,
That's a lot.
Yeah, but
you had to really love
But you
the
look at it
property in
from
the
like a
town.
business standpoint, I mean,
Yeah.
that, everybody loves that
Yeah.
spot, right? I
But, Frank, if it wasn't for Frank Patterson, somebody with a vision like him,
mean, yeah.
Or a private homeowner who doesn't
Yeah.
have a checkbook like him. That
Yeah.
says, oh yeah, $30,000 system.
Or somebody
50.
who has, a third of an acre and there's no place to put it.
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, and the work, and that's
Well,
just,
it's post.
and Frank, I mean, he had to literally pick up the building
Mm.
and put whole new foundation and put it
That
back
building
down.
was a dump.
Yeah,
Sure was.
I
It
mean,
was a falling down dump.
the
and
amount
it
of
was
money he put into
beautiful.
it,
He
Yeah,
was
he did a great
wonderful
job.
landlord.
yeah.
Yeah, he did a great job with
I,
it.
I email him all the time, I'm like,
Yeah,
wish
he
we had,
deserves a lot of credit,
Yeah.
because he
Mhm.
really, that was a passion.
yeah.
Sure.
I remember
I'm-
when I interviewed him, he was like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
He
Like, oh God, had I only known.
replumbed the
I
whole
would have
thing.
gone to Vegas instead.
He replumbed the whole thing, rewired the whole thing, he lifted the entire building up and put new support structures.
Yeah,
Oh,
He
it
knew
was
everything.
really falling apart.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did a great job.
it was horrible.
And he wasn't allowed to just level it, is that what the problem was? Was
well, I
it
don't think he
like-
wanted to just
Yeah.
level it, I
Yeah.
think he wanted to keep,
Keep
what
it.
was it, what was there.
Yeah,
But he, like, you guys are saying, he didn't realize what that entailed.
Every surface is new.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I like, your offices are
Our
awesome,
offices are great,
yeah.
I love the Bolton
Yeah.
Bean.
He's conserving, or preserving, there's a second, what do you call it? Well, oil trap, or
Oh, grease trap?
grease trap
Mhm.
in the back corner for a second restaurant. And he's been hesitant to, I think, lease it out, cause he was thinking he might wanna do something
Oh, I
with it.
think they're gonna expand into it.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
I
yeah.
think that was,
I
that was
I know
his
that's the
hope,
plan.
that they would
Oh,
have.
to expand into
Yeah.
that?
To have his, yeah, I think they wanted to have like more restaurant
Yeah.
type, but I know his sons are kind of like, let's do this, let's do that, he said, let's just perfect what we're doing,
Yeah.
and then we can, but I think he wanted to do like,
Yeah.
be open later at night
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
have music.
Well, they got a liquor license, or
Did they?
a beer and wine license.
Okay,
I don't know that but they were thinking more for like, paint nights and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but they haven't done it yet.
Mhm.
They got it, so,
Mhm.
so they definitely started the legwork for that.
There's definitely traffic through there though. If you look in that
Yeah, every
parking lot,
time you
it's
walk
full.
out
It's
there.
full.
whenever you go in there, it's full,
Yeah,
it's great.
he could really open, he's not open on Sunday, which, it's cause they're like church going and they wanted the day off and stuff,
Yeah.
and their son's in,
Well,
like,
cause they're there all the
they're
time.
there 6 days a week.
Yeah.
But if they can get another manager or something that could open on Sunday, I always wish it was open on Sunday, I know that.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
what were we talking about? This happens in these meetings all the time.
Open spaces and
Yeah,
Now everybody's
So-
depressed.
I mean, we can get back, so we can, that's something that the EDC, like, Tina, I mean, not saying that for you to do this, but the EDC can go in a million directions, and one direction is champion the, public sewer, and why, not necessarily that we'll do it, but just to get a committee started, a dedicated committee to do it, and say, why it would be good. Oh, Combine, that's why I got there. They, would love to do this village overlay and redevelop that entire thing, and they even showed us a plan, with, multiple buildings.
You're talking about Bolton Office Park?
Yeah, Bolton Office
Oh, I
Park.
thought you said Contact.
You did,
Yeah,
that
I
was-
did.
That's all right. So
But
we
they're
know
the
what you're
owners,
talking about.
they're the
Right.
owners of everything, the
Oh,
whole
okay.
thing, right?
Mhm.
Alright, yeah. So they own the office park and they
Sure.
own, well, that's it. I have in my head that there's an assisted living facility
I
there,
know
but just
what
cause,
you mean, yeah.
yeah. Cause like 3 years ago, we approved an assisted living facility, so it's kinda like all in my head, like the layout of it, it's there, although it doesn't exist. It's just like the plans are locked in my head. But they wanted to redevelop that entire thing, and they showed like multiple pads with businesses and like a restaurant pad and a pharmacy pad, right?
Well,
The problem is they just they don't have the sewage,
right.
and so they said, well, could we look in, they were gonna go talk to Freddie Freitas if they could do like some shared system potentially with them and across the street to waylay the costs. So they're looking at all their options, sewer options, pretty much right now, because right now all they have is 10,000 gallons and they already are using it up
Yeah.
Title V wise. They asked if they could tie into the system, or even could they pay to upgrade the system we have? Add more tanks, add to the pump house,
Sounds-
yeah. But still, we would need some type of sewage type committee, cause it's town property and, stuff to work with them on that, So, I think that's something that maybe we should look back into, but we're always just doing a million things, so it's, things just get dropped for years at a time.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
something
That's kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
right, I mean,
Oh.
that's what I would
Yeah,
think
yeah,
as like an EDC committee is something.
yeah, for
that
sure,
We should help with,
Yeah.
because that's business opportunity.
And if that's something that
Well,
the-
it's kind of long range too,
Yeah.
right? So it's not just like
Well,
the
and-
static
and also-
rates and
yeah.
things like that, it's kind of like
the planning
better
board,
than you found it type deal.
yeah, the
Right.
planning board over the coming couple of years is gonna be opening up the master plan, and that's something that for sure should be in the master plan is public infrastructure along
Yeah.
Main Street. If you're talking 10-15 year plan, in 10 years, we should, if we're still dealing with what we're dealing with, I think we probably missed the boat. A lot of business opportunity. And I don't want, and the thing that people are scared of is that every single house, and I know that planning board is gonna talk about 7-Eleven's 13 and the Cracker Barrel, rezoning them as business. What people get scared of, especially residents on Main Street, is that, well, I guess they would be increasing their value, but people don't want all these 1,700, houses to become businesses, and I like them residential too. But if you add infrastructure and then you start talking about adding business and stuff, people get scared that it's gonna just become like, people say, oh, become Route 9 or
Like
Route
a little
20.
strip mall, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it could also become like Hudson. I mean, like
Concord,
where you're
yeah.
taking
Yeah.
like old buildings and just
Yeah.
repurposing them.
Yeah.
I don't think many, I mean, nowadays at least, a lot of towns, it could be more cost effective, but you're taking the existing buildings and using what you have to
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
they may not
Yeah.
all be like the Bolton Bean
Mm.
Park where you have to lift the entire house
Yeah,
up
right,
and all
yeah.
that. Like if we,
yeah,
as a town, help facilitate some of that,
yeah.
it would increase, it certainly would increase the value of the people that live there. I don't know why they would be
Yeah.
upset with
Yeah.
that themselves.
But, for the Cracker Barrel, which is the red brick building across from the Common, and 7-Eleven 13 Main, I mean, those are perfect spots for a general store and some type of restaurant, type shop.
It's dangerous, that is a dangerous corner.
Well, yeah,
To encourage more traffic to go into that building is,
Well-
in my opinion, a huge mistake.
well, that's another issue
Well, I
too.
worked in that building.
Yeah,
I, I don't know why we
Yeah.
haven't had a trailer truck parked in the front, the corner office, cause it's so narrow to get around that corner.
oh, yeah.
It's really dangerous.
Well, that's another issue too.
Yeah.
Although, we're, potentially fixing that issue, right? Yeah, so,
Can
we
you tear
have,
it down?
huh? No, that intersection, we're pursuing a grant for like almost $1 million, right?
Through Mass Works, and it looks like we have a good opportunity to win it, so.
To,
Wow,
We
really
shall
indeed,
see.
to fix it.
add lights there, left-hand turning lane, just redo that entire intersection,
Yeah,
yeah. So potentially some of the traffic and hazard might be mitigated,
that would be good.
yeah. Do you have an update on that, or?
Not really,
No,
no.
just that the grant's submitted?
Yeah,
Oh, that
submitted
takes
in
so much
August.
pressure off me, I don't have to let people go when they're coming down Waterquay. Okay, go ahead, I mean, Ivan's gonna hate me, but you'll like me.
Yeah,
But you know what, in the morning, it's easy to navigate because people are stopped
Oh,
anyway.
I
Right.
know.
They let you in and,
Yeah,
everybody.
it is a brutally hard intersection.
Yeah.
Meander.
yeah, that's, I mean, I take that all the
Yeah,
time.
I
I
think so too.
mean,
Because it
somebody's
takes
gonna die there,
15 minutes to get
somebody's
out.
gonna die there.
You can,
Because people come so fast, and they come up on you so fast.
And sometimes you just have to go.
You just have to go.
You just have to take a
Well,
chance.
and the thing that makes that intersection so bad is if somebody's also on Manor, and you don't know what, okay, your left-hand blinker is on.
Yeah,
But are you gonna turn wide, or are we gonna turn at the same
Yeah.
time?
yeah,
Or it was like,
yeah.
it's so
Well, and the
confusing.
roads aren't quite offset to each
Right,
other,
right.
so you're
Yeah.
trying to figure out if they're coming down Harvard
Yeah,
Road.
yeah.
You're trying to figure out, okay, you're right, they're gonna take a left, you're gonna take a left,
Yeah.
but who's going
Are we-
first and
are we
they're
going
offset,
together?
so,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
so are we doing this,
If
are we
you
working as a
go-
team
Yeah.
here? Like, how are we doing this?
You're making the eye contact,
Yeah.
where you're like,
Good.
okay.
All right.
Meanwhile, the
We're-
other cars are going
Yeah.
like 50.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the problem, people
Yeah.
don't slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's a big game of chicken.
Yes. But every now and then, when I'm coming out of that road, somebody on 117, stops and lets, it's probably somebody who lives in the, lets you go, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
It's
you
like the
want to
best
like
person.
hug them.
Yeah.
I know.
If I'm on my bike, they
Yeah.
always stop,
yeah,
Oh,
which is
they
kind
should.
of, which is
They
nice.
should.
I mean, if I'm sitting there, they'll all stop for a biker, which is nice. But
all right, let's see, these meetings always go in a million directions. I think that's about it. I don't know if anybody else has anything else. So we have a wreath project that we'll get working on. So what do you think, Tina?
I have ideas.
Yeah?
Not
Yeah.
to throw too much out there, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely have
So are
ideas.
you, would you like to become a member? So we just have to vote, and then if we approve, then we just send it to the selectmen, and then so at the next selectmen's meeting, you'll officially be a member, so.
Alright, I make a motion to accept Tina Higgins into the EDC.
Second.
second.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Great. welcome aboard.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I didn't know you decide so fast, so.
Oh, yeah.
Warm
More
blood.
bodies?
Yeah, yeah,
We didn't want you to leave.
yeah. You had me at hello.
These guys would lock the door.
Yeah.
You can't leave just
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, I think.
Yep.
And like I said, pretty much whatever makes you happy, you can go in a million directions.
I mean, I've only lived here for 2 years, and so I definitely can think of all the things that like when I got here and what I was wondering about and like what I wish we had, so.
Yeah,
really it's a
exactly.
good-
And like, so this was started in 2012, and like we were talking about tax rates and, debt service and stuff like that, and
I didn't hear anything about debt service today, so.
no,
yeah.
but that's kind of what we were originally
Tasked
kinda,
with.
I don't even, but that's kind of was our initial approach, kind of like just thinking economically,
Mhm.
But now it's more, I really feel like we're more like a chamber of commerce,
Yeah.
but, a chamber of commerce, but being a conduit for business to residents. But also, ARCA gets emails all the time about, inquiries to different buildings and stuff like that, so. We can continue growing as a board and doing more and more things, we just need the cycles and the people willing to do it and different expertise. You seem very fired up about sewer.
I'm fired about more business in town, however we can,
Yeah.
Mhm.
break down the
Yeah.
roadblocks for
And
business, I
that's,
think
so
is
that is a
the
major roadblock, and the other major roadblock is
And I
traffic.
think it's educating people as to why.
Yeah,
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't make it seem like it's a selfish endeavor, because it's
Yeah.
really not.
yeah,
If you look at the broader town, sure, so I have a septic system, why would I care? Well, I do care when downtown is
Yeah.
dead.
yeah,
It impacts the value of my house, so
Yeah.
that's how you have to kinda sell that story. It's
And
a,
it
it's a.
impacts the
Yeah.
businesses.
So-
And it's
You
just,
can
yeah,
have,
it's just
you
not,
know.
so the
Well,
two,
for like the events, like,
Yeah.
when we do these types of events, like,
Yeah.
I would be downtown way more frequently with my family
Well,
if there was
and now we have that
more
beautiful,
to do. Like,
we have that
we
beautiful-
go to, cause it's a nice.
we have that beautiful
Yeah,
pavilion, if there was, so you were
Right.
saying that, the Cracker Barrel is the top, but if 7-Eleven Main Street became like a general store and they could share the parking in the back, there's a big parking lot behind
That's a
it.
no-brainer.
Some
You know.
easy things, like, think of
Yeah.
like us. Somebody
If you had a
said,
general
"I wanna do
store
a,
where you
know,
can-
smoothie or juice bar or something, like,
Yeah.
simple, like.
Like,
Ice
but if
cream.
you had something
Ice
there,
cream.
and now the
Exactly.
pavilion's there, like I can't wait to go eat lunch in the pavilion, but I just have to pick it up from somewhere.
Right,
If
yeah,
there was-
you gotta, which isn't bad, I mean, there are enough places in
Yeah,
town
there's enough
that you
places.
can drive and go, but it'd be
But,
nice to just park.
I mean, and I don't wanna take
figure
business
out-
away from the Bolton Bean, but a general store type place, I think
I don't
would
think
work.
they would, yeah, I don't think they would
Yeah, no,
lose
that's
Yeah.
for
much
sure.
business. If it's, it would be different enough that.
Yeah, right,
I would, I'm still gonna go to the Bolton Bean.
Yeah, of
regardless,
course.
but-
but something in that
Yeah.
property, but they can't do anything, because they can't have
And
public
even
water.
even if they can't, like, to Mike's point too, the residents that live there now, like, it's only gonna get worse for them as, their options
Yeah.
are limited, so
Yeah.
just to be able to like,
And Title V standards keep getting harder and harder.
yeah,
you
so
know,
just
they're
being
not-
able to say, well, there's two sides of it. One, yes, it's making it easy for the residents that you may not care about, but it also presents opportunity for businesses in town, and we all hate the tax rates and everything
Yeah,
else,
yeah.
but that's what these businesses do,
Yeah.
is
For sure,
they will help offset that.
Yeah.
If you get creative
Yeah.
about,
yeah,
how you can bring them in.
so I do think that that's, something that we could really focus on.
So if was it Condyne, is that what you said was pursuing
They were looking into their
options at
options,
least?
yeah,
so that might be a good avenue to at least start engagement, cause they're already somebody trying to pursue an
Well,
opportunity and don't
and
know
also,
what options they have.
when we,
from them.
when we were initially talking about this, so I don't know if it's Sterling or Lancaster, I think it's Sterling. They just added, a big public sewer, you might know this, but it's because it was sponsored by a business that was moving in. And because it was adding jobs, they got a huge grant from the state, for the public sewer, because it was adding jobs. So a few jobs here and there at the Cracker Barrel and 7-Eleven probably wouldn't bring in a lot of grant money.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about a major development in the office park, and it would be there, except if we could get a public sewer, I mean, that's probably, a good avenue for state money for that.
Yeah.
And, just to wrap it up, we are making headway, I think, on the, so it's traffic and sewer. Traffic, where we're having what's the deal with the study? You know, the $150,000 study, did we get the grant for that?
We haven't heard back yet,
Oh.
so I don't know.
So potentially we're doing a prioritization study of 117, like the hot spots, and determine what spots need to be fixed, Manor, you know, Wattaquadock, 111, the highway, and how the overall flow of that road is, and like what you should fix first. So that's kind of ongoing. There's the grant out for Wattaquadock specifically, which hopefully we'll get. So there's already pathways starting on the traffic, which is good, but there's zero work being done on sewer.
Yeah.
There's a,
Not necessarily saying I'd jump in and
I'm not
orchestrate all that, cause that is.
Well,
like-
and I'm not
The
saying
future
for
of
you to do
Bolton is right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, if,
I honestly,
if the
I,
need is there.
I thought the first time we talked about it,
Yeah.
it was worth pursuing.
Yeah,
I still think it's worth
Yeah.
pursuing, but I
Yeah.
think we need to look at it maybe a little differently,
yeah.
get all the facts. I
Yeah.
think the Board of Health was kinda like,
Yeah.
but they were kind of, it seemed like we were reaching like, waters, and we weren't trying to create this big district. We were
Yeah.
just looking
Yeah.
at it as trying to solve a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
And
make,
the problem
just
is
make it like,
definitely there.
well, so
sustainable
I mean, the
for
thing
another
is,
50 years.
politically, if you do have that, you do have to create a sewer district and a sewer commission, and there is all that,
Yeah.
to it. But we talk, maybe, we don't have the cycles, but, we should drive probably a charter to the Board of Selectmen for a sewer committee. And a few of us probably should be on it,
Yeah.
to represent the businesses and why we would want that. So it's not just this board working on it, we would want the EDC, Board of Health, different boards in town, residents of Main Street, residents not on Main Street, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
Just getting like a study committee started is probably a good first step,
Yeah.
for, anything in government's slow moving, so. Maybe,
It doesn't have to be.
huh?
It doesn't have to be if there's going to be enough people. right?
Yeah, but it's like a big mass that you have to get moving in one direction, so it's just hard,
Yeah.
a lot of opinions, a lot of voices, a lot of process.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's it. 8:30, not too bad.
Wait,
Motion to adjourn.
When was the last time we met?
Oh, let's talk about,
Oh, I'm not trying to talk about anything.
No.
I'm just curious, I just can't remember
No.
the last time we had met.
last time we met was, I think, like June.
Okay.
I can't meet the first week in November, but we should meet in November sometime. November, is that 12th?
Well, it's
14th?
Monday.
The 12th would be tough for me.
Oh, is that?
And I have a meeting,
That's Veterans Day.
Yeah.
oh yeah, so maybe we should meet the 19th? Cause that would give us time to take care of, meet the 19th. We probably wouldn't end up meeting in December. We typically don't, usually busy in December, so if we meet, the one thing, Tina, we do is like, we do a lot of subcommittee kind of like things that, like over the summer, there was a million things going on and we didn't, that's why I closed that. There's a lot of things going on, but we never met, so it's like, it's a bigger group, it's easy just to do things in smaller groups, So I think, is November 19th good?
It's Thanksgiving week.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
okay.
Oh.
That's fine for me.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
well, I can't do the 14th. Oh, but it's the first day of Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, I'm fine with
It's fine. Just, point.
And then we won't meet in December, because everybody's busy, Thanksgiving to December.
good.
It's like a whirlwind,
Excuse me.
yeah.
it. Well, yeah, unless do we actually put up the wreaths?
Well, we will.
So then that'll be,
We'll plan when we put them up
as
and
people
stuff.
can do that, that'll be a
Yeah.
chance for people to
Yeah,
It's a thrilling exercise.
actually, it's,
Never seen so many nails and staples, and those utility poles are just loaded with hazards.
yeah.
My home is built 17.
Oh, you're gonna be sick that day?
No,
I'm thinking about the sewer system that day.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Alright, so
terrible.
yeah, so we'll plan to meet then November 19th. Alright, now we'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I-
Aye.
Alright,